Look at this for a shot he's taking on.
How difficult is it to play some of the best shots from a professional snooker tournament like the Masters?
Oh.
And what exactly is it you need to know to be able to play all of these shots yourself? During the tournament, all of the best shots were added to a list to try to find this year's shot of the championship. And of course, I'm trying to recreate all the shots from the BBC shot of the Masters as accurately as possible and in the fewest attempts. And if that all goes well, I can then show you how to play each one. Bit hard. I'm even giving you the chance to vote on your favourite, something you won't get anywhere else. But we're going to start with Shot A and Kyren Wilson.
Well, that's not bad, was it?
This shot's played with right hand side and backspin, which makes it difficult to line up accurately, but it does mean the cue ball's going to find its way back to the safe end of the table. Needless to say, I was happy to get this in just 2 attempts, but do you feel it's a shot that's just too difficult for you to try? For a lot of people watching this video, just playing a stun shot from this type of distance will be an achievement in itself, let alone getting the cue ball to screw back at all. The great thing about this shot is you only have to stun the cue ball into the cushion. It's the side spin that brings it back into bulk. It's not really even a screw shot. And even though it makes it a lot more likely that you're going to miss, it doesn't really matter, because the chances are it's going to end up safe. Shot B is Shaun Murphy's clinical black against Mark Williams.
I know he's got an unbelievable long game, but if he knocks this in, well, just phone the police.
There's nothing more to this shot than potting the black. However, the black is incredibly difficult. Obviously, Shaun Murphy didn't fancy the safety shot, otherwise he would never have taken this pot on. Because if he missed it, he was likely to leave an easy chance and lose the frame. The big difficulty with a shot like this is a small amount of unintentional side will make the cue ball roll off course. I was just happy to get it as quickly as I did. The thing to remember with a shot like this is the cue ball's never going to stay completely true. This makes the cue ball move towards the object ball in a small curve rather than a straight line. You'd think you'd want to try to prevent this, but that's nearly impossible. The best thing you can do is try to allow for the cue ball's curved path. Shot C has Ronnie O'Sullivan lining up a dead straight pot.
Wow, needed good cueing, and he got good cueing. Beautiful.
This shot obviously requires a lot of backspin, which makes it difficult to play accurately over a distance like this. I was happy to get it first time, even if I did overscrew it a little bit. If you're struggling to get that sort of reaction out of the cue ball, then just try gripping the cue as loose as possible with your back 3 fingers. They do need to maintain full contact with the cue at all times, but it should just feel like your cue is resting gently on your hand. Let me know if you've tried this and whether or not it actually works for you. Shot D is a snooker escape from Kyren Wilson, where he does a little bit more than just hitting the red. With this shot, the green's a little bit in the way, so you have to play it with a precise amount of right hand side to get the cue ball to break a little bit wider off the cushion and move towards the red. I would have been happy with my first attempt, but here we're trying to pot it, and luckily on my next go, everything came out right. All professional snooker players seem to have a really good understanding of the angles, which is vital for a shot like this because it means they never seem to miss a snooker. Before our next shot, we're going to quickly find Sandesh from Pokhara, Nepal, which is a bit there. And our next shot is shot E from David Gilbert, a screw shot from an even more impressive distance than what we've seen so far. For myself, over this type of a distance, I usually find screwing the cue ball back at all a little bit of a challenge. Luckily my table is pretty reactive, although it won't be quite as good as the tables you see on TV. Fortunately, striking the cue ball a little bit too low like this hadn't damaged my tip, although it did require a little bit of care before I was ready to have another go. I was now being a little bit more careful. So when I got it, I didn't quite screw back enough, but I didn't want to risk playing another shot.
The only way you're going to generate backspin from this type of distance is to throw your entire body at the ball. But you need to do this in the right way.
You need to move forwards, not up, and keep thinking about staying low. Obviously this is less than ideal, but it is something you'll see professional snooker players try when they need to get too much backspin on the cue ball. Shot F is another shot from Shaun Murphy, this time powering the cue ball round the angles off the pink.
Take your chances. Might land on one in the middle here, which he has done.
This shot is known as a punch shot, where you strike the cue ball above centre but play it like you're playing a stun shot. My first attempt was fairly good, but unfortunately I didn't quite play it hard enough. When I first saw this shot, I didn't really think it would be that difficult, but it's probably the shot on the list I struggled with the most, purely because it was difficult to power the pink into the middle pocket at such a speed and still get the cue ball round the table in the right position. What made it difficult is you had to bounce the cue ball to get in position, but how exactly does this work?
Whenever you've got a shot that's a little bit too straight, like this is if we want the cue ball to get up there somewhere, for example, what you do is you just strike the cue ball down into the cloth of the table a little bit, and this makes it break a lot wider. You can easily get a lot more angle on the ball. It's a very simple way of doing it.
Shot G is Yan Bingtao potting a pressure red against Stephen Maguire.
What a shot that was.
You need to strike the cue ball slightly below the centre with this one to make the cue ball stop as it strikes the red. You have to strike down on the cue ball, which makes it a tiny bit harder, but what's the best way to go about playing long shots under pressure?
If you're not confident with a longer distance shot like this, it can be really difficult to deliver the cue straight. So the best thing to do is to not think about it and just focus on trying to get the cue ball to strike the right place on the red. Before we try yet another Yan Bingtao shot, we're going to find Joseph, who's in Niroshaza, Hungary.
Yes, shot H is Yan Bingtao as well. Too straight on the blue to split the reds directly, so he plays the shot off two cushions.
Fantastic shot.
This shot's played with topspin and right hand side, but you need to control the pace, as the harder you hit it, the more the cue ball will arc as it goes towards the cushion. But is this a good way to open the pack?
This is probably one of the most difficult ways to split the reds, because not only have you got to perfectly judge the cue ball round two cushions per side, you've also got to judge the topspin arc. And even then, you're not guaranteed to get nicely on a red, even if you play it perfectly. I try to avoid this one if you can, and look for any other way to get in the reds.
Shot I is John Higgins also trying to get into the reds, but this time he's the wrong side of the blue. But that doesn't stop him finishing on a potable red. You need to stun this one between the yellow and brown with exactly the right amount of left-hand side. And I was close with my first attempt, but I just didn't quite finish on anything. Playing a shot like this makes it difficult to both pot the blue and cannon the reds, but at least I usually find if you do manage to make the cannon on the reds, they usually split nicely and give you a favourable chance. I was a little bit disappointed in how long this took me, and I would like to have got it in far fewer attempts. But once I managed to make the cannon, I found I got a really nice split and ended up perfectly in position.
Interestingly, when players first attempt this, the most common two things for them to do is just put way too much side on the ball and miss the pack over here, or play the cue ball so it ends up somewhere around about the black. It's just interesting how many times that actually happens.
It doesn't require an extreme amount of side, but needs quite a lot, so it's difficult to be precise. Shot J is Yan Bingtao again, this time escaping from what was probably one of the most difficult snookers to escape from the entire tournament. As Stuart needed snookers, I was really just looking to try to escape from this one. You have to play the cue ball round 3 cushions with a lot of left-hand side, and I was really pleased to get it on my first attempt. But is there really any trick to this?
This is just a good escape from a really difficult snooker, and the only thing you can do if you want to play shots like that is learn the angles. Come on, can't hit it any harder than that.
It was decided that the 3 best shots was 3rd John Higgins' split on the reds from the wrong side of the blue, 2nd David Gilbert's long distance pot and screw shot, and 1st Shaun Murphy's difficult pot under pressure. But nobody's given you the chance to vote for any of these.
Till now, because I'm letting you choose your favourite, just hit the link in the description and it'll take you straight there.
And I'll share your results in the middle of next week somehow. If you want to see more of me recreating the best shots from past tournaments, have a look at these 2 videos. And remember, don't just watch, play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later.